Hey everyone, it's Sarah, and today I wanted to show you something that I've started doing that I call the 3-pillar rule when it comes to doing my brain dumps. Now, in this video, we are going to be using the Daily Productivity and Brain Dump book. You can find this on Amazon, or you can find a link to it on my website at mindfulproductivityblog.com. Basically, this book helps you optimize your brain dumps and gives you a series of different templates that you can use so that you aren't left looking at a blank page wondering, okay, I really want to do a brain dump, but where do I start? So today I'm going to show you some of the templates that are inside this book, as well as how to really use the daily productivity page effectively. And then I'm going to give you an example of how I used it today with something I call the 3-pillar rule. Okay, so first of all, this book, you can grab it on Amazon, like I mentioned, and inside of it, there is an index so that you can map out anything you need to reference. I don't use this for every brain dump I do, but it can be helpful if I'm doing something that I'm like, oh wow, there's a lot of great ideas here. I really want to reference these later. So inside the journal here, this is a 90-day undated planner. I definitely don't use it every single day, but you can use it for 90 days, right? It's undated, so you come in here and you can write down the date and everything. And then on the left-hand side here of every spread, you're going to find a brain dump template. Now, this is one of the most popular ones. I talk about it a lot, mainly because it's been super helpful for me for decluttering my mind. But there's a bunch of different templates in here. This one specifically talks about what I cannot control, what I can control, and what I will change. Again, getting really clear on this can help you build your self-awareness and really empower you to know what to do next. But today I wanted to show you, let me kind of just do a little flip through of some of the pages. You can see this template has columns for emotions you're feeling, frustrations, wins, wants, that kind of stuff. But on, I think it's page 21, and all these pages are numbered so that you can easily reference. On this page today, this is the template. It's the Map It Out template. There's literally just 3 circles on here. And if you have this book, or if you've been wondering how to use this template, I want to show you one of the ways that I use it, called the 3-pillar rule. So basically, I ask myself, what are the 3 main things that are on my mind right now? So what 3 things are occupying my mind or taking up space? And this week, or today specifically, those things happen to be intermittent fasting that I've been doing this past week, work, and home. So those become the 3 main things that I'm going to brain dump about. And as you can see, I talked about intermittent fasting. I marked down that I'm doing a 24 window, and that feels good. I want a meal plan for the next week. So basically anything that is on my mind around that pillar in my life right now, I'm kind of getting everything out of my head. Some of these things are just observations. Other times they end up being to-do lists or tasks, but that's the beauty of brain dumps, is that when you utilize these, you really gain an awareness of what's going on in your head, or what you might want to utilize, or what you might want to change. The other thing that's on my mind, as always, is my work and my business that I run. And so right now I was like, oh, I really want to do a podcast content plan, and I'm going to show you a little bit more about how I'm mapping that out here. I need to take and get ahead of the game on some Instagram photos. I want to start doing some styled shots with the Mindful Productivity Planner and getting some Christmas kind of theme stuff in there, and more fall photos for the holidays, and all of that. I also want to do a end of the year recap with all of my podcast guests. So last year, if you listen to the podcast, I think it was episodes in the 40s somewhere, where I reached out to a bunch of different people and I asked them all the same question, and then I gathered all the responses, and that became a really cool 2-part podcast episode series. And I want to do that again this year and reach out to all my guests and see if they want to submit an audio for that. I also have a list of ongoing books that I want to read specific to my business, and I really want to get clear on what are those books and what are they going to be for the rest of the year, for the rest of 2019. And then I also want to start taking some more brand photos, some more headshots, and think about maybe doing some professional photos for my business. And then on the home front, I just have basically a lot of these ended up being tasks, but I just have things I want to do. I want to vacuum, I want to make the bed, and that really is something I want to do every day, which led me to come down here and make this point about starting a new morning routine. So I really want to get clear on what I'm doing in the morning and what I want to start doing. I also want to sage my apartment, and I want to add some things to the storage unit. So these are the things that I want to kind of do in my home. And again, brain dumps don't have to be like an endless thing you do. I did this brain dump in about probably 7 minutes, and there's definitely, as I'm looking at it now, there's like more things that some of these things I've written down are sparking, like, oh, I want to get even more clear on that. Or now that I've got, now that I know I want to do a new morning routine, now I know like, hey, maybe I'm going to do a whole other brain dump, and there are blank pages in here. Maybe I'm going to go to a blank brain dump page, and tomorrow, maybe I'm going to do a whole thing about my morning routine. Also in the back of this book, there are brain dump pages that have lists with them. So if you do have a specific project you want to brain dump about, then maybe I'll do that here. And then maybe I'll get clear on the morning routine things that I want to do. Another thing I do in the back with these pages is I'll do a giant brain dump, and then I will write down tasks that come of it that are either work tasks or personal tasks. So that's another way to use it. So anyway, those are the things, those are like the 3 pillars. So if you're doing a brain dump, and you certainly don't need the brain dump book to do this, I would just ask yourself, what are the 3 main things on my mind right now? The 3 main focuses. Maybe those things are kids, maybe it's work, maybe it's home, maybe it's school, right? Or maybe there's something else you're working on, like maybe you're trying to do couch to 10K, right? So whatever those main things are that are like really occupying your mind, write those down in these bubbles and then kind of branch off from there. So a lot of times, brain dumps are just really, really helpful. And I find that sometimes it's more of, I need more of an emotional brain dump. Other times I need more of a structured kind of thing for work. But throughout here, there is a lot of different sections for this one, there's mind, body, and soul. So you can see, like, you can kind of just flip through. And sometimes I do that. I flip through and I find the template that kind of suits me the best, and then I'll work on that. By no means do you need to work on this in a specific order. So let's talk a little bit about this daily productivity page, and let me jump to a blank page just so that we're not distracted by everything I wrote down. In this page, this is really great, and it's really, really helpful to get you to focus. So the way that this is structured out is that you do your brain dump, and then on this page, you're writing down the date. Sometimes I like to write quotes, like I think I wrote, this was something I thought of today. I said productivity can start at any time of the day. And that is because today I woke up, I had a slow morning. It didn't really get the laundry going and everything going until about 11. And then I ended up not going out to the coffee shop until I think I got there and got my coffee and my avocado toast. And it was like 2 p.m. And I was like, you know what? I can still get a lot done. So I wrote down productivity can start at any time of the day. Anyway, or you could do some washi tape or something. I typically don't decorate this because it's more of a functional planner for me, but you could do whatever you want, right? So basically what these columns are is you have 2 main columns, and these represent your 2 main projects that you're going to be focusing on for today. And I just have 2 because there may be more projects that you can do, but for the most part, if you can get really clear, like if you can declutter your mind and then you can get really clear on what the main 2 things you need to do are, then you'll actually accomplish those things. And instead of making a to-do list or a project list that's endless, where you feel really good about making it, right? But then you don't actually do the things. Now, one thing you can do is if you do want to get down all the things in your head that you need to do for the week or the month or the quarter, whatever, you can go to the back and do a brain dump of all those things and then start making those lists, right? Here's all my work tasks I need to do. Here's all my project tasks. Or here's all the stuff I want to write for my blog. Or here's all the stuff I want to do for whatever, okay? So you're going to write down your main 2 project tasks, and then in here, you'll break down the steps. There's 5 boxes. So, and I'll show you an example in a second here, but you'll write down your project, and then you'll see that there's 5 Pomodoro circles. Now, Pomodoros are 25 minutes. Sometimes I count these as 20 minutes, but essentially you've got 5 tasks and 5 20 to 25 minute chunks of time that you can hopefully accomplish this task. If you know that this project you're working on is going to take more than 5 Pomodoros, that's fine. Write down the first 5 tasks here, and as you think of more, come down here to additional tasks and start writing down those tasks here. The point is for you to start working and to take action on the tasks you can today. So don't worry if this project you're working on will take you, maybe it'll take you 40 hours to complete. That's fine. Just get clear on like what the first 5 steps of the project you're going to do is work. The first 5 steps of the project is that you're working on. Ooh, that was hard. And then you can always, migrate it to the next page. Okay. So that's how I would use that. Then once you write these down, you'll have your 5 steps. You can go ahead and check off these circles as you either complete each step or spend 20-25 minutes on that task. There's also a section down here. It says, as the day unfolds. I like to use this to write down like any specific meetings I have going on for the day or any things that I'm doing. There's a notes and focus section and then a space for additional tasks. So let's go ahead and I'll show you how I used this today specifically. So I wrote down the 2 main things that I want to do. And today I decided to do what I'm working on in my business and then what I really wanted to do for more of my self-care and fun time. And that involves a lot of organization, and we'll get to that. But the main thing I wanted to work on were these podcast outlines because I really want to get ahead on the podcast. I think the most ahead I've ever been at one given time was maybe a month and a half, and that felt amazing. But I actually want to get 4 months ahead on the podcast, which means 16 episodes. And I want to see if I can record those over the next 2 weeks. And I will definitely keep you guys updated on how I do that, how successful it goes and what I notice about that process. But I noticed that, again, right, these podcast outlines are probably going to take me more than an hour and a half or whatever. But I started working on them today. And today at the coffee shop, I did this idea dump and I got down 30 different podcast ideas. So I actually got down more. I wanted 16. I have 30. And then after I did that, I realized that there's a couple different things that I want to do. So actually, let me get out a pen and make a note of this as I'm thinking about this. So another thing that I want to do is I actually want to refine podcast titles for SEO. So I actually want to I have all the title ideas, but I actually want to make the titles a lot more specific and a lot more eye-catching and intriguing where people know exactly what they're going to learn by listening to that specific episode. So that's something I actually want to do. And so I'm going to put a little circle around that and make a note to go down and check that. But then I also need to decide on the order of the episodes. I need to do full outlines for all the episodes. Some of the outlines I do for podcast episodes are really simple because they're mainly just me chattering. Others have a lot more research or a lot more points that I need to touch on and subpoints. So I definitely need an outline for those. And I usually just do those in either Notion or Google Doc. Any added research that I need to do, and then I want to finalize the outlines. And obviously this is just podcast outlines, right? So notice I didn't put up here, record 16 podcast episodes, because that would have been really hard to break down that task into actual tasks that I could do in a 20 to 25 minute time span, right? So again, my main goal is to record 16 episodes over the next 2 weeks, but that starts with podcast outlines, and these are the steps I need to do to accomplish the 16 podcast outlines. Then down here, I kind of just wrote what was going on for the day, when I woke up, when I was doing laundry, went on a walk, and then we were at the coffee shop, and now I'm back home doing a live, right? And I'm probably going to do a little bit more work, have some dinner, and then kind of round out the night. Over here, and another thing I wrote down here was a note to think about for the podcast. So I wrote down, look back at past content and tweak and repurpose. You do not need to reinvent the wheel. There's endless content on the blog. So this I wrote down, and then I actually took a look at my blog on my phone while I was at the coffee shop. And that's how I ended up getting double the ideas, because I took past blog content and then looked at how I could go even deeper with that content, or how I could do a spin-off of a blog post and turn it into a podcast episode. Just kind of reminding myself that I don't have to constantly create new stuff for it to be valuable. There's a lot of new content within old content, right? Then I also up here have that I want to journal for fun. So I got a ton of ideas for how I want to journal in 2020, what kind of journals I want to use. I am going to be sticking with the Mindful Productivity Planner. I've really been enjoying it a lot, but I've noticed that I've been using this a lot more for kind of self-care, and I'll get into that in another video. But I also know that I'm, creating another planner for business stuff and goal setting. And then also I have other journals that I want to use for lists and mental health and all kinds of stuff. And I really want to utilize them this year and use up all the stickers that I have. So I actually wrote these things down. And you might be thinking, why on earth would I use a productivity page to write down something I want to do for fun? Well, for me, I actually have a hard time making time for the fun things. I've been telling myself for weeks that I want to play The Sims and I want to play Minecraft. But then when it comes down to it, I get in this habit where I kind of just get in bed and read or watch TV, which are great things. fun ways to unwind, but then I never end up actually playing The Sims or Minecraft. And so every day I'm always like, oh, that really sounds fun. And I'm left with this kind of like lack feeling. So sometimes it helps me to actually write down self-care or fun tasks in my productivity page and then get clear on like what those things are, right? Like, and not even to write them down as like a checklist thing, but to write them down so that I can be like, oh, these are the reasons why. So for example, if I was going to write like play Minecraft, I would write down like, I would probably use these sections to write down like some of the things I want to do, right? Like I want to redo a whole new place. I want to create an animal sanctuary. I want to blah, 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 blah. I want to learn how to maybe do some like coding with the blocks, whatever. You could write down stuff like that. But here I have journal for fun. And so these are some of the things that I have: organized journals, organized stickers, gather up all my fall stickers, and decide on journal functions. So again, I do want to make a video where I go into more depth. I do have a video up on YouTube about some of my journals I use for brain dumps, mental health and lists, which includes this one, the Mindful Productivity Planner, and probably about 5 other journals and planners that I use. And you can go check that out. But this really helps me. So now I know tonight, when I'm in my like self-care fun time in the evening, these are the things I want to do. And then that's going to allow for that to happen. And then again, I have additional tasks down here. So this task is actually something that came over from here, right? So I had, on the work section, I had list of books to read. So I actually added that as a task in here. Make list of books to read in 2019. And this is specifically for my business. So that is how I use the kind of 3-pillar rule to map out a brain dump. And this is how I've been structuring how I'm going to be doing these 2 projects, and then how you can use these daily productivity pages yourself, and how you can use brain dumps. So if you want to get a copy of the brain dump book, you can find it on Amazon, or you can go to mindfulproductivityblog.com and get your copy. But it's been really, really helpful, not only for my business, but also for my mental health. All right, you guys, if you enjoyed this video, click like, share, let me know in the comments below what was most helpful for you, and I will talk to you guys later.